Origins of thought through the causal consciousness. The journey of exploration into our creativity revealed our thoughts appear to originate from two sources. One source is to utilize the existing flows of energy within creation. Using the existing flows of energy is about converting the energy we sense as a human being into thoughts, utilizing our mind and our creative imagination. The second source is what can be called causal consciousness. This is about a flow of energy to create something not previously seen or experienced, which is then characterized by our mind into a thought or thoughts to manifest, to act on the energy to create the object or the experience. Causal consciousness is about our ability as a consciousness to create something not previously experienced or existing using the cause-effect relationship between energy and consciousness. Now, one can debate whether we bring something into existence that never previously existed or experienced anywhere in creation, or something not previously existing or experienced in physical creation does not matter. From the human perspective, the process is the same. For lack of better words, as far as we currently understand, everything arises from a oneness and a substance which cannot be adequately described. But in essence, it gives rise to what we call energy, consciousness, and a field of infinite possibilities. The way the process normally works is our mind uses its creative imagination to characterize the energy we experience to create a thought upon which we act. Our creative imagination bases its characterization on what we think, believe, the experiences we have had in this and previous existences, our current environment, how we focused our attention and awareness, and our underlying intention, which we hold with some passion, desire, or will to make happen. What needs to be understood is what mind uses to characterize the energy is of the past and what it has experienced. As a human being, to create something new, never seen, and never previously experienced, the mind, its thoughts, its memories, and all that it uses are of no value. That is because what is desired is a new creation and never existed. Unless we become a conscious creator, it cannot be created. Otherwise, we simply recreate the past in a new way. Relative to creating thoughts to create something not previously seen or experienced, it is to experience the cause-effect relationship between energy and consciousness. It is where the focused attention and awareness of our consciousness, based on what is desired and the attributes of what we desire, becomes the cause, with the resulting effect being the creation of a flow of energy. Then consciousness, through its creative imagination, converts this flow of energy into a thought on which it can choose to act and create what it desires. Here it needs to be understood the thought could be an image or a picture, or a single idea or a single thought of some action to take. If you listen to what some mystics say about the origin of thought, they say that thoughts just bubble up from a place of no-thingness. On one hand, this is true. We have no thought of something that never existed before. A thought we get relative to something not previously existing seems to arise from nowhere. It just appears in our mind. We may know the attributes of something not previously existing, but not what it is, for it has not yet been created. However, the focus of our attention and awareness and our desire is taken by the unseen to generate the energy for creation to manifest our desire. How the unseen creates that flow of energy is something our mind will not fully know or understand, for the answer lies in the unseen realms. But creating that flow of energy, we can follow the feeling of that flow by remaining focused on what we desire and act on any thought which arises that leads us to manifest what we desire. Analogously, we can look at what we desire laying at the mouth of a river, and we are far up the river. We get in the boat and flow down the river, allowing the flow of the river to carry us to the mouth of the river and our desire. Since what we desire does not yet exist, there is no thought to think that represents what we desire. We may have our opinion of what we think it is based upon the attributes we desire to have, but nevertheless we do not know what it actually will be. When no thoughts are available, the focus of our attention awareness is, one way or another, is to look into the space without thoughts. Some would call this the space between thoughts if you are meditating. Others would say we have an empty mind. But with no thought, the focus of our attention and awareness takes us to a place of contemplation. With no thought to think, since it does not yet exist, the best we can do is contemplate. To think is to use our mind to try and figure a rational answer. To contemplate is to allow the answer to come to us. When we think, we actively use our brain and our thought process. When we contemplate, we simply gaze and allow ourselves to be open. To contemplate is to actually find the answer. To think is to look for an answer. To think is a trial and error process in hope of stumbling upon the answer we desire. Contemplation is needed for a problem for which we have no idea as to how to solve and have no solution. To think about something where we have no idea of a solution takes one to that place of no-thingness or no form. You have no solution, so mind has no idea as to what to observe. This is the basis of a koan. The koan is often something paradoxical to the mind that forces one out of their mind. The koan is something that has no solution and is often given to an individual to awaken an individual to enlightenment. In contemplation, using the paradox of the koan, the intention is enlightenment, and the intention carries one to enlightenment through the contemplation. In looking for a solution to a problem, the contemplation adds our desire, our passion, or energy to fuel the creation and create the flow of energy which pulls the creation into existence. In our contemplation, we can observe bubbling up from the place of no form or no-thingness an energy in the form of the bubbling, and the information in the flow can be captured. The information can be captured in one of two ways. It is captured either as a perception or a thought. As a perception, the perception is usually a vision or a picture. Relative to obtaining a perception, some would say the perception is an intuitive insight or vision. What the perception we receive actually means may take some time for our mind to figure out what needs to be done. We may need additional experiences to fully understand the meaning. Nevertheless, in holding the perception, we are led by the additional experiences we need to understand the perception of the vision we get. Relative to the thought, if a thought arises, the thought is usually followed by a series of additional thoughts relative to obtaining what is desired. The way the energy arises creates a series of thoughts leading us to manifest our desire. It is like crossing a stream in a very thick fog. In stepping onto a rock to cross the stream, all we can see is the next rock on which we need to step. It is to trust in taking the next step another rock will appear for the following step, and we need to continue the process one step, one rock at a time till we cross the stream. So too the thoughts we get, one thought at a time on which to act until we create what we desire. Relative to getting a perception in the form of an image or a picture, or a thought followed by a series of thoughts, at first glance, the two processes look different. Actually, they are the same process. But it is said that when one perceives a perception or an image, it may take an additional number of experiences for mind to figure out what needs to be done. It has been said a picture's worth 1,000 words. The additional experiences one needs to have to understand the picture or the image is only obtaining the 1,000 words or thoughts to understand the picture or the vision. This process is really no different than getting a thought, one thought at a time. With a vision, we get one experience at a time to understand the vision. When acting on each of the thoughts or obtaining the experiences in sequence as to what is required, the process leads us to the final manifestation that we desire. In the end, the processes are the same. The flow of energy which we create carries us to what we desire if we stay focused on what we desire to create, and the flow may lead us to thoughts or experiences or both. Key to this process is the focus of our attention and awareness and the desire and intention we hold. So it is important to have a very clear intention and clarity as to why we have the intention we do, for we will need to hold the focus for the duration of the process. Getting into the causal consciousness is ultimately about the focus of our attention and awareness. Even if we go off and do other activities, holding what we desire, that focus, can pull the insights as to what we need to do to surface in our mind. So there is the need to being present to what arises within us, both thoughts and feelings, to get the insights we seek. If we lose focus, we will not be present for the next step we need to take when the insight and opportunities arise. In being aware of how the focus of our attention and awareness and the desire and intention we hold keeps us in alignment with the flow of energy carrying us to the desired new original creation, helps us to understand why play is a powerful creative state. Lost in the state of spontaneous and innocent childlike play at discovery of oneself and one's world, with the focus of our attention and awareness, the play carries us outside any preconceived thoughts and judgments. When we are open, we become open to the insights we get. It is to be lost in the beginner's mind and to open to what arises. The intuition surfaces information based on the mindset and how one focuses their mind when entering that state of play. Here we need to understand being present to what is not about meditation. It's about being aware of what is, being aware in any activity in which we are engaged. The basis of meditation is, in essence, to quiet the mind. Since the mind responds to energy, and then mind characterizes the energy in the thoughts, most meditation practices recommend a fixed body position to reduce the energy that's experienced, to reduce the generation of thoughts. That is, no body movement and focusing one's awareness on observing the space between thoughts and no movement. In doing this, one is focusing their awareness into the place of no-thingness or no form. In focusing on the place of nothingness, one can see beyond one's normal perception. However, it needs to be understood our intention we carry governs what we see and experience. Using meditation with the intent of seeking a spiritual experience, the individual becomes open to such an experience. If we are seeking an answer to a problem, we will get insights about the problem. Here again, it's about the focus of our intention and awareness in an intention held with some passion. If one wants to be quickly out of mind, to be open to insights, we only need to focus on breathing and just feel the breath to focus on the feeling that takes us out of mind. The intention we hold and contemplate when we focus on our breath, we will be carried to the insights we seek. In being in the place or a state of being beyond mind and having an awareness of what is, one can see what is in the flow of creation just giving rise to creation. It all depends on where one is focused. In causal creation, when one realizes that the intuition will surface information based on what one thinks and believes, one simply needs to hold a conscious intention and be mindful and aware of what one thinks and feels to pick up what intuition surfaces in response to the particular intention. It does need to be noted that by the time we have the thought, we have already experienced the energy. To try and stop the energy which is giving rise to the thought is to try and close the barn door after the animals have left the barn. This is why we, quote, feel bad or, quote, feel good, and then we think we don't feel good, we don't feel bad. We first experience the feeling and then characterize the energy by our mind. However, it needs to be understood, in regards to what we don't like, we can shut off the flow by shutting down what we feel. But there are aspects of the energy we must just allow ourselves to experience and feel if we are going to understand from where our thoughts arise. So there are times we feel bad and we just need to experience being with what we feel. Otherwise, we shut down an aspect of our creativity. We need to remember creation of something not previously existing lies in the unknown. It is to bring into existence that which has not previously been experienced or is significantly different from the past. In being able to distinguish whether or not a thought arises from our mind, from our past, or from our intuitive guidance, we begin to step out of the past and look to what we feel more and more to create something new. It is when we start selecting our intuitive guidance over the thoughts that arise from our past that we begin to become that conscious creator, and we learn to be present to what is in the moment. Mind will always play an important role, and it is inescapable. Becoming a conscious creator as a causal creator is to be able to separate our intuitive thoughts from the thoughts our mind generates from the past, for any energy we sense is characterized by mind from what our mind thinks and the thought it generates. It is to make as many decisions as possible based on our intuitive guidance. For our intuitive guidance is what leads us into the unknown to create. Mind only knows how to repeat the past. This is the first creative dance that we need to learn to do. This is the essence of the dance between heart and what we feel, and the mind and what it has experienced in the past. For any thought we do get, we can always look at our heart and ask if the thought feels correct and in alignment with what we felt which gave rise to the thought. When it comes to creating something not previously experienced, mind is of questionable and marginal value. When it comes to something not previously experienced as a truly new, original, creative endeavor, mind is at a loss to provide an accurate description of what it is. This is why it is said that when mind presents an intuitive insight, the image is probably wrong, but the direction of travel is correct. That is, the energy that is experienced giving rise to the new creation is compared to all the experiences that mind has had. The best fit of what mind has experienced in the past is in the direction of the image presented, and the direction we need to travel is in that image. Hence, if we honor the image presented, we will move towards and into the energy which is experienced by our intuitive guidance. As we move to act on that image, we will get a new insight that keeps us going in the correct direction. In essence, the new insight corrects for what information of the past which was unavailable in the first insight. The bottom line to move to become a conscious creator is to learn to listen to one's intuition, pay attention to how you have focused your attention and awareness, and become aware of what intention you hold.